stings in South Bend, doesn't it? There were 3 teams vying for a spot in the college football playoff in Miami, Notre Dame, and Alabama, but there were only 2 spots. The aftermath still being felt today, 3 days later. And the truth is, we might feel this again 3 weeks from now because the NFL has its own version in the NFC. The Lions, the Bears, and the Niners, all with similar records, are going to play each other over the next month. And there's a chance all 3 make it to 11 wins. And someone is going to get left out. And this is devastating for me to say, could very well be this team right here. 11 wins would leave you out of the playoffs. Now, future outcomes could obviously change that. But guys, Chicago's going to play the Browns this weekend, and then they got a really tough schedule down the stretch. Is there a chance Chicago does not make the playoffs with 11 wins?
Well, listen, according to our FBI, they have a 55% chance of being able to get into the dance. I do believe the Chicago Bears will be in the playoffs. It's because of their defense and their offense being able to play complementary football, cashing in on all of the takeaways that they get. They came into last week top 2 in point off or turnover margin in the entire NFL. So absolutely phenomenal job at being able to do that. They can run the football. Ooh, that offensive line, and specifically that center guard trio led by Joe Thuney and Chris Dahlman, I think they do a phenomenal job. DeAndre Swift and Monangai, they are hammers when it comes to that run game. And then the quarterback, Caleb Williams, is capable of making special plays. Now, he didn't cover himself in glory at the end of that game in Lambeau, but I came away from that loss against the Packers more encouraged about his future, and I'm not talking about 2026 and beyond. I'm talking about the remaining month of the regular season and on into the playoffs.
That's positive for sure. Yeah. Stephen A., what do you think?
I believe in Chicago. Even though they give up a little bit too much on defense, they also are opportunistic. They get takeaways each and every single game. I think they answered the call. I applaud the way that they played Green Bay. That was a tough game. At Lambeau Field. They were right in it to the end. That is not an interception that Caleb Williams should have thrown, obviously, off your back foot, scrambling to your left. I just think that, when in a situation like that, you got to be more sure. You just got to be more definitive than he was. But I will say this, I still believe in him. And obviously with Swift and the Mungai, they're a special running tandem, no doubt about that. You can run the football. Can you stop the run? I got that question mark at the latter as it pertains to the Chicago Bears. Can you stop the run when it really, really counts? I'm wondering about that with them, but I would tell you this. I would pick Detroit and Chicago over the Niners for some reason. I mean, the Brock Purdy's of the world, Mac Jones when he was out, I get it. And Kyle Shanahan is a phenomenal coach. I get that part too. But it's just something that's telling me if I had to pick two of the 3, it would be the 2 teams in the NFC North before I pick that team in the NFC West.
I'll go the opposite here. I think as good as the Bears season has been, I think their schedule ends up getting it. They got 3 or 4 games are brutal. I mean, you're talking about the Packers, you got the Niners and the Lions. Like that is a brutal end. Again, irrespective of what happens with the Browns, the San Fran's got 2 of their 4, and they play each other. I mean, so obviously the 49ers game is going to be the circle 'em game. I think the way the Bears have played has been phenomenal. I think they have, to your point, they've taken advantage of every misstep that every other team has taken. And as much as Caleb Williams has done to this point and how much growth he has shown in this season, I think ultimately teams lock up their run game like what the Packers did. There were no big 10-plus runs against the Packers this past time they played them because they're going to make Caleb Williams beat them. And as much as he's taken the steps he's taken, his accuracy is still iffy at times. Ben Johnson's done a great job. The future is super bright in Chicago. Unfortunately, they miss it. I think San Fran goes.
I know we're ahead of schedule in Chicago, but we will be fans devastated if we get to 11 wins on this season and then at the end of the year don't make the postseason because of one game here or there. Stephen A. talks about falling off a cliff. That's what it would feel like in Chicago. But then let's spin it forward. Do you think Caleb Williams is even capable of taking the Bears on a long playoff run? What's the face?
Well, only thing I want to say, because I'm going to let CeCe get in here because the audience needs to hear from him more than me on this one. But I will say this, Shay. Are you sure you're going to be like, oh, my God, it's so devastating, it's so awful, if you have 11 wins after what we've seen from y'all in recent memory?
And nothing to show for
Chicago, I'm asking. I mean, listen. You're the Chicago native and you're a Chicago Bears fan. I'll defer to you. But I'm just saying that considering what Chicago has been through, I mean, if you end up winning 2 of these next 4 and you know what, but somebody streaked the schedule or you lost an earlier matchup in head-to-head competition and that's what leaves you out of the playoffs, I'm not denying that it won't be disappointing, of course. I was just challenging you saying that, oh my Lord, it would be devastating to be so miserable because I think Chicago, with Ben Johnson there, has shown they got an awful lot to look forward to in the future. And I think they've already set that message, and I think 11 wins proves that.
100%. But you guys know how this is year to year. Injuries happen, turnover happens. Like, nothing is guaranteed, especially in you don't think this division's not going anywhere. The Vikings are going to get better.
Right.
They're not going to look like this for another year. I know they're coming off a win, but still.
I would tell you, if you're a Bears fan, there was zero
100%.
expectation that you were going to come anywhere near what this team has come to.
100%.
And if you walked away because they lost in that last 3 span, they lost 2 of 4 and don't get in, and San Francisco gets in with the other 2 in their division, and you'd be like, oh, I'm disappointed. Like, that's why you can't have nice things, Shay, because you got to go, hey, the arrow is pointing up. We are grateful for a great season. Ben Johnson, we salute you. We are super fired up because that is a
no one wants a participation trophy. No one wants a participation
I'm just assuming that the San Francisco 49ers are going to get into the playoffs. Like, I'm just assuming that looking at their remaining schedule.
Yeah.
But when you look at the proposition that the Chicago Bears have, it's going to come down to Week 18 at Soldier Field against the Detroit Lions.
The Lions.
And can they win that game is the question mark.
Yeah, it's a huge game.
And have they grown enough from what we saw in Week 2 when they got smoked by Jared Goff and company?
Yeah.
Have they grown enough as a team? I think that's going to determine how Bears fans feel about Chicago's season, because this is the first winning season they've had since 2018.
Right.
So it's been a long time.
I'll tell you what's going to help it along.
About the team they're going against. Like that don't get no better. Like that.
The black and blue division, 2 teams that want to run the football. Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, Stephen A.
Yeah, and by the way, you got one of those games against Green Bay. We have to remember Ben Johnson, nobody compelled him to do this. Introductory press conference. By now, he said beat the Packers twice a year. He said beat Matt LaFleur twice a year.
Yeah.
That's what he said, okay?
Yes, he did.
So that's coming home. That's coming home to roost right now. And so it's going to be real interesting to see what Chicago does to step up to the plate and handle their business. When you look at Caleb Williams, dead last, completion percentage at 58%, has a league-high 9 games with a sub-60 completion percentage, 6 straight games with a completion percentage under 60%. This is Ben Johnson coaching him, and that's still happening. So that is not good. That is something that because we know they can run the football. And it's about Caleb, and we've seen him make some spectacular plays, so we know what he's capable of. But this is about Caleb. It's going to come down to that whole Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams combo and what you're going to be able to deliver. It just seems like that's what it's going to come down to.
The good news is we have both Green Bay and Detroit coming to our house, coming to Soldier Field.
Yeah,
so that is, I think, in our favor. Coming up here.